In the presence of the Emperor himself, Darth Vader engaged in a fight against a team of cybernetically enhanced warriors, not just for his survival, but for his honor and his position as the trusted enforcer of Emperor Palpatine's will. However, Darth Sidious did not reveal his reasons for this lesson until some time later. Whispers of hope started to spread throughout the galaxy as a result of the obliteration of Alderaan by the Galactic Empire and the destruction of the Death Star by the Rebel Alliance. Emperor Palpatine sought to tighten his grip on the galaxy, increasing Imperial control over many planets. Dispatching his enforcer Darth Vader to the planet of Shu-Torun, Palpatine sent a message to reinforce their cooperation with the Empire. A volcanic planet in the Mid-Rim, Shu-Torun was rich in rare ores and minerals. In this harsh environment, its citizens created a thriving mining industry that supplied the Empire with many critical resources. Their society was based on a monarchy with ore barons in charge of the mining and exporting operations. Shu-Torun was key to Darth Sidious's plans for his empire, and as a necessary world, he sent Darth Vader to ensure the king and his people remained faithful servants of the Empire, and more importantly, that the ore barons met their quotas. But upon Vader's arrival, he was met not by the king, but his daughter, Princess Trios. Escorting Vader to a ball, the princess explained that courtly culture was an integral part of their society. Shortly after Vader was asked to dance and emphatically declined, anti-Imperial assassins assaulted the gala with Vader as the target. Easily fending off the attack, Vader demanded to speak with the king. But Princess Trios warned the Sith that traitorous dukes would be watching the elevators, and she would be happy to guide him to the king using underground tunnels. But the king watched this betrayal unfold, and enraged at his daughter's disloyalty, he accepted that he would have to sacrifice his daughter as he triggered the trap he had set for Vader. Lava suddenly poured from vents in the ceiling as Trios and Vader made their way through the underground tunnel system. But unknown to the king, Vader was familiar with navigating lava flows, and the Sith quickly cut a section of the wall to use as a floating platform. And using the Force, he pulled them to a catwalk, and the two escaped through a side vent. Furious, the king ordered his throne room doors locked, and he summoned more guards. He knew Vader would be there soon and should not be underestimated. Outside the throne room, Trios quietly pulled a blaster on Vader, only to discover the Sith was never vulnerable. In a single strike, Vader severed the princess's hand and cut his way into the throne room. Inside, Trios was met with a gruesome, unexpected sight. Her father, siblings, and their guards were all dead, and waiting patiently were two assassin droids. 000 and BT-1, Dr. Aphra's psychotic droids, had been Vader's plan all along. Shortly after his arrival on Shu-Torun, the droids had slipped out of Vader's TIE fighter, infiltrated the palace's droids, and entered the throne room, striking when the moment was right. Now that the Emperor's message had been delivered to the people of Shu-Torun, it was time for Vader to ensure their future loyalty to the Empire. Vader presented Trios with a gift, telling her that now, as Queen of Shu-Torun, she will serve her people. And the gift, a piece of the remains of Alderaan, was a reminder of what happens to worlds who resist the Emperor. As Trios informed Vader the Emperor's tides were the cause for their rebellion, Vader simply informed her this world was now hers to rule, but to never forget who she served. Sometime later, Emperor Palpatine summoned Darth Vader to the Imperial Palace on Coruscant, where he informed his apprentice there was a problem to be attended to. Despite their warning, many ore barons of Shu-Torun continued to rebel, and this time a full military intervention was required. Palpatine needed the matter resolved quickly, as the ore shipments from Shu-Torun were required for various military projects under construction. As Vader turned to leave, the Emperor informed Vader that Dr. Silo and his cybernetically enhanced warriors would be joining in the assault. The cybernetically enhanced Silo had come to the attention of Darth Sidious before the end of the Clone Wars, and he was one of the scientists who placed Darth Vader inside his mechanical armor that saved his life after his loss to Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar. Silo's work in cybernetics had continued under the Galactic Empire. He came to believe that technology was superior to the mystical aspects of the universe, such as the Force. And to prove this, he created new life forms enhanced with technological augmentations in the hopes that one of his creations would replace Darth Vader as Emperor Palpatine's enforcer. In fact, just before Palpatine ordered Vader to return to Shu-Torun, Vader had dueled Commander Carbon, a Mon Calamari experiment of Dr. Silo's, and returned the cyborg body to his master, challenging Sidious to give him a fight worthy of his time. As Vader led the Imperial forces against the Ore Barons on Shu-Torun, he was joined by Queen Trios, determined to prove to her people, and especially Shu-Torun's royalty, that she was worthy of their respect. But Vader understood that this was more than just a military operation. He had been sent to prove that the Force was more powerful than any technology, but he was not beyond utilizing technology to achieve his goals. Vader ordered Toulon Voidgazer, another of Silo's experiments, to trigger her drone explosives above the refinery the rebel Ore Barons' forces were using as a base, and the resulting lava flows melted the facility. Vader announced to the rebel Ore Barons that if they did not submit to the Empire, he would level all their refineries, bringing an end to their riches and lifestyle. As the Barons plotted their next move, Trios led Vader, Silo, and his enforcers to the ancestral retreat of the Shu-Torun royalty. There, Baron Rubix's lava leviathan emerged from the magma and opened fire in the hopes of killing Queen Trios. Joined by two of Silo's experiments, Vader leapt aboard the vessel and cut his way inside. The three made their way to the lower levels of the ship, cutting holes in the bulkhead, filling the ship with lava, and sinking it deep into the magma depths. Through all of this, Silo had designs of his own. Reaching out to the Ore Barons, he offered to deliver Darth Vader to them. As Vader led an assault on the Baron's citadel with a giant combat drill, Silo betrayed them and redirected the drill into a trap. Surrounded by the Baron's elite forces, Vader ordered 000 to activate their droid platoons as backup to the Imperial forces, and he ordered the rest of the fleet to continue their assault. As Vader made his way through underground tunnels to make contact with Queen Trios, he was ambushed by two of Silo's experiments. Easily fending them off, Vader learned the truth of Silo's schemes and plans. Returning to his forces, Vader found 000's strategies had allowed the Imperials to hold the enemy forces, and that Trios' assault on the Citadel was well underway. With no opposition, Vader made his way toward the Citadel, cutting off Baron Rubix, the head of the rebellious Barons, as he attempted to make his escape. Turning Rubix over to the Queen, Trios refused to listen to anything the Baron had to say, and had him executed on the spot, promoting Rubix's daughter as his successor and ending the Shu-Torun royalty's rebellion. As Vader boarded his shuttle to return to his master, Queen Trios assured Vader Shu-Torun would again meet the Emperor's Ore quotas, and when she inquired if he was happy with his appointment of her as Queen, Vader replied she simply was the only choice available. Diverting to the shipyards at Kuat, Vader boarded the unfinished Super Star Destroyer Executor. There, he met with his master, Darth Sidious, who was now ready to explain Vader's true mission. Palpatine explained that Vader's failure on Mustafar had jeopardized the Sith's plan. In order to ensure that the Empire lived, he had turned to scientists whose philosophy aligned with the Sith, Silo among them, saving Vader's life so that Sidious could have the apprentice he required. After they had safely encased Vader inside his armored suit, Sidious was intrigued by the prospect of these scientists continuing their work without the hypocritical morality of the Republic. Over time, Silo grew more powerful under the Tarkin Initiative, and Palpatine needed to remove Silo without disturbing the balance of the scientific community. And so the Emperor allowed Silo to overplay his hand and become a traitor to the Imperial regime. And now that the cyborg scientist had made his move, Vader was free to purge the man who once saved his life. Vader understood that all of it had been a game, one that he was destined to win, but had he failed, there was no doubt one of Silo's experiments would have taken his place. While Darth Vader was able to control the events on Shu-Torun, Boba Fett was not always in control of every bounty he collected. Check out the video on the screen to find out what it took to get Han Solo from Bespin to Tatooine.